Have you ever noticed how easily we confuse freedom with pleasure? We tell ourselves we're free because we can buy things, eat whatever we want, stream endless content, and scroll ourselves into a dopamine coma. But what if that's not freedom at all? What if our pursuit of pleasure is actually making us slaves? Slaves to our cravings, our comforts, and anyone who promises to give us more of them. Dostoevsky thought so. And once you see the world through his lens, you may realize you've been building a cage lined with silk pillows. In The Brothers Karamazov, Dostoevsky draws a sharp contrast between two types of people: the worldly person and the monk. The worldly person lives for pleasure. Money, food, romance, luxury, comfort is their compass. The monk, on the other hand, deliberately gives up pleasure and learns to live with discomfort. It seems like the monk is depriving himself, right? But according to Dostoevsky, he's the one who's actually free. Let's get clear on what freedom means here. Real freedom isn't just doing what you feel like in the moment. It's the ability to direct your life toward whatever purpose you choose, even when it's hard, even when it hurts. That means enduring suffering without becoming desperate to escape it. If you can't suffer, you're not free. You'll just chase whatever numbs the pain, even if it means surrendering your autonomy. Now enter the worldly person. This is the person many of us are taught to be. We pursue comfort like it's the holy grail. Bigger paychecks, better cars, gourmet food, perfect vacations. We design our lives to avoid discomfort at all costs. But what happens when those comforts disappear? When the relationship ends, the job gets cut, the health fails, or the money dries up? We suffer. And because we've never trained ourselves to handle that suffering, we panic. We'll grab hold of anything or anyone that promises to make it stop. That's not freedom. That's desperation. That's dependency. The worldly person becomes a puppet for the next source of pleasure, ready to trade their values, integrity, or even their identity just to feel good again. Now contrast that with the monk. The monk doesn't chase pleasure. They train their mind to face discomfort, to sit with pain, to keep moving forward even when life gets hard. That's not masochism, it's power. Because when the monk loses the same comforts the worldly person clings to, they don't break. They remain grounded. They can still serve their purpose, their calling, their values, because they're not shackled to comfort. But here's the obvious question. How do you become that resilient? How do you actually endure suffering without losing your mind? It comes down to meaning. You can only endure suffering if you believe it has value. Viktor Frankl, a Holocaust survivor and psychiatrist, wrote that suffering ceases to be suffering at the moment it finds a meaning. In other words, pain that has a purpose becomes bearable, even transformative. But when suffering feels meaningless, it becomes unbearable. Of course, this raises a tough question. What about the suffering of innocent people? Of children? Is there really meaning in that? And the honest answer is, we don't know. We may never know. That's not a satisfying conclusion, but it's a real one. We can't prove that suffering has meaning, and we can't prove it doesn't. So what do we do with that uncertainty? We choose. You choose whether to believe that suffering has meaning, that there's a purpose behind the pain, even if you don't understand it yet. And if you choose to believe that, something powerful happens. You stop needing to escape every moment of discomfort. You become capable of enduring, of growing, of walking through fire without becoming ashes. But if you choose to believe that suffering has no meaning, then why endure it? Why not escape it through whatever pleasure you can find? And here's the danger. When tragedy inevitably strikes, because it will, you'll find yourself running toward the first person or ideology that promises comfort. And that's how freedom dies. Not with a bang, but with a soft pillow and a tempting offer. So ask yourself this. When the world needs someone strong enough to resist the pull of comfort and stand up to corruption, who would you rather be? The worldly person, addicted to ease and vulnerable to manipulation? Or the monk, grounded in something deeper, harder, but far more powerful? In a world that glorifies indulgence, maybe the true rebellion is discipline. Maybe real freedom isn't in chasing what feels good, but in choosing what's meaningful, no matter how it feels. Stop chasing pleasure. Start finding meaning. That's how you take your power back. If you found this video meaningful and interesting, drop a comment below and share your experience. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who might find this content useful. And as always, thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time.